Untethered by Michael Singer. You just go back to the front of this. So, um,
He does a great job with everything. I love his other, living untethered, or just I can't
Untethered
even say
Soul.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so
One
yeah,
thing I didn't read the surrender. What is that all about? Like his trial and when he was going through it?
it's all his whole life. It's just basically his whole life. How he wrote The Untethered Soul, how he, um, everything. He went into business, he went to school, all the different stuff, and built the temple of the universe, all of those things that happened by him just saying yes and surrendering. So the surrender experiment was at a point in his life, he just said, I'm just going to surrender and say yes to everything. And so he became, that's how he became aware. So, and that's how he wrote The Untethered Soul. And that's how he had his business and all the different things that he did was by total surrender to spirit and allowing it to lead. So, so here we are. Yeah, living untethered. Michael J. Singer. Michael, I don't know why I keep saying J. Michael Singer, Mickey. We call him Mickey. All right. So part one, conscious
Where does
awareness.
call Mickey? Where's that say that?
What? Oh, he calls himself Mickey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people don't call him Michael. They call him Mickey.
Right.
Mickey Singer. So if you don't know him, you call him Michael. And if you do, you call him Mickey. So I don't know him, but I'm going to call him Mickey anyway because that's what
Right.
he has to be called. All right. Chapter one, awareness of self. And oh, this is the typical Mickey Singer too, because this is what he talks about all the time. If you listen to ACIM Gather, I play him Mickey Singer all the time. And he says this almost every single time. Sitting on a planet, spinning through vast outer space for a handful of years, in the broadest sense, this is the human predicament. Earth has been here for 4.5 billion years, yet each of us is limited to roughly an 80-year ride on the planet, give or take a few years. We were born onto the planet and we will live it when we leave it when we die. That is simply the truth. What is not such a hard and fast truth, however, is that what our few years on Earth are like. Undoubtedly, life on the planet can be a very exciting experience. It can bring enthusiasm, passion, and inspiration at every turn. When it unfolds that way, every day can be a beautiful adventure. Unfortunately, life on Earth rarely unfolds exactly as we want it to. And if we resist, our experience can be quite unpleasant. Resistance creates tension and anxiety and makes life a burden. To avoid this burden and to be able to fully embrace life, wise ones throughout the ages have taught the importance of accepting reality. Only by accepting reality can we work with the flow of life as it passes by and create a better world. All of science is based on studying reality, learning her laws, and then working with those laws to improve our lives. Scientists can't deny reality. They must fully accept reality as the starting point of their endeavors. To fly, we must fully embrace the law of gravity, not deny its existence. The same is true in the spiritual realm. Teachings such as surrender, acceptance, and non resistance form the basis of a deeply spiritual life. But these concepts can be difficult to grasp. In living untethered, we are embarking on a journey into the sheer reasonableness of acceptance and the great gifts it promises: freedom, peace, and inner enlightenment. Acceptance is the best understood is best understood as non-resistance to reality. Try as you may, no one can make an event that has already happened not have happened. Your only choice is to accept the event or resist it. During our journey together, we will explore how and why you make this decision. But first, you have to understand who is within that has the power to decide. You are certainly in there. You have an intuitive sense of existence inside. What is that? It is awareness of self, the most important topic we could ever discuss. Since we're going to take a deep dive into the spirituality of acceptance, we must start by understanding who is in there, accepting or resisting. All right. Any thoughts
Can I
here?
read? No, I can go on and read a little if you want.
Good, because my voice is going.
Okay. There are many ways to approach the nature of self. Let's go slowly and start with something very simple. Imagine someone comes up to you and asks, "Hi, how are you in there?" How would you respond? No one would actually say, "No, I'm not in here." There would be the ultimate non sequitur. If you're not in there, who responded? You are definitely in there, but what does that mean? Okay, you have to change it. It's funny because I did used to uh, do these exercises, from his you in there type thing. To isolate what you in there means, imagine you're shown 3 different photographs. The photographs are held up one after the other, and then you're asked, though the photos change, what it is it the same who saw all 3 of them? Your response would be, of course it was the same me. Very good. That helps us get our bearings. From this simple exercise, it's clear that you in there are not what you look at. You are the one who's looking. And if it weren't for the looker, if it weren't for the seer, we wouldn't even have this dream. Because that's who we really are. The pictures changed. You who saw them stayed the same. It's just like Robert has a essay about his he was stating basically in his essay. Now I forget what I was going to say, but it was something in the lines of what I was sharing. But this has happened sometimes where I forget. In any case, Robert's laughing. Robert, the whole thing is we're sitting here doing this course, doing all of it, and none of that even means anything. In the end, nothing happened. How about that? You mean everyone in the world doesn't know Sharon? That's right, because she's an idea. There's nothing here that's uh, reality except for the space. The space is what we are. That's the only real stuff we have, and the only moment is now. So. Anyway, it's hard not to understand with photographs that you are not what you look at, but there are some objects we identify with more than others. Like if I don't look good in a picture, I'm not going to identify real well. I'm going to say, I don't like that picture. And, for a woman, I don't know one woman in this world that would want a picture of themselves where they didn't look good. Because it's always about what the other thinks. It's never about what we think. It's always, well, I want to look hot for that guy over there. It's not hard to understand with photographs that you are not what you look at, but there are some objects we identify with more than others. For example, our bodies. We identify with our bodies enough to say, I'm 43-year-old who is 5'6". Is that really who you are in there? Okay. a 43-year-old 5'6" female body, or is the body something you in there are aware of? You know, when the light comes, we're no longer like identified as the person. We're identified as everything and nothing. Because the light made all this. And the dream means absolutely nothing. So he's saying, to this out, let's start with your hand. If you were asked whether you can see your hand, you would say, yes, I see my hand. Okay, but what if it was cut off? Don't worry about the pain. Just for a moment, imagine it's gone. Would you still be there? Wouldn't you notice that your hand is gone? It's like the changing photographs. When hand was there, you saw it. When it was gone, you saw it was gone. You in there who sees did not change. What you were looking at changed. Your body is just another thing you see. The question remained, who is in there doing the seeing? It's all God. And what does God mean but love? And what does love mean? Acceptance. And what does acceptance mean? And it goes back and forth into the fact that we are always, number one, speaking to ourselves about ourselves, and we are either picking the Christ, the highest of high, or the lowest, lower persona, who maybe, you know, we like sometimes, but it never stays. It's all pleasure when you like it, because the pain is so deep, right? And in the end, it's nothing. Note that we didn't have to stop with the hand. Surgery has become so advanced that with the help of a heart-lung machine and other medical devices, surgeons could remove a great deal of your body. And the same sense of self would still be in there, aware of the changes. How could you be your body if it changed that much? And you in there stayed the same. Just to sit with that. Robert just left for a little bit. Fortunately, to help you realize you are not your body, we don't really need to go that far. There's a much simpler, intuitive way to approach this. Surely you've noticed that your body didn't look at the same when you were 3, 10, 20, or 50 years old. It certainly won't look at the same when you're 80 or 90. And that's the truth. Like, I'm starting to look older. Well, I'm not starting to, I am older. But, you know, we're all in this together, too. That's another thing. So he says, there must be a simpler, intuitive way to approach this. Surely you've noticed that your body didn't look the same when you were 3, 10, 20, or 50 years old. It certainly won't look the same when you're 80 or 90, but isn't it the same you in there looking at it? When you were 10 years old and you looked in the mirror, did you see what you see now? No, but wasn't it you looking then and now? Just look at this man's clarity that's coming through. Like, it's so perfect. You've been in there the whole time, haven't you? That's the core. That's the essence. That's of everything we're discussing. Who are you? Who is it in there looking out through those eyes and seeing what you're seeing? Just like when you were shown the 3 photographs. You are not any of the photographs. You were the one looking at them. Likewise, when you look out at the mirror, you are not what you see. You are the one who sees it. Little by little, through the use of these examples, we are revealing the nature of self. Your relationship to what you see is always one of subject-object. You are the subject, and what you're looking at is the object. There are many different objects coming in through your senses, but there's only one subject experiencing them, you. Okay, Lynn, do you want to take this? I just want to get a drink of water.
Sure. And
Okay.
yeah, so that whole discussion about who is it, and that you are the same person that you've always been since you were a child. I mean, actually, who did I just hear saying the same exact thing? One of the teachers I was playing, maybe Mickey Singer, I don't know. But yeah, we're the same as we always have been. I'm the same Lynn. I don't even call myself Lynn. I'm the same person that I've always been. Chapter 2, the conscious receiver. Once you recognize that you're in there, you're going to notice that objects around you tend to distract your consciousness. A neighborhood dog barks. A neighborhood dog barks. Someone walks into the room. You smell the aroma of coffee, and your awareness is drawn to these objects. On a daily basis, you are so distracted by external objects that you rarely remain centered on you, the conscious receiver of these objects. Let us take a moment to examine the real relationship between this conscious receiver and the objects it is distracted by. All right. To look at this scientifically, you are not even looking at the outer objects. Right now, you are not actually looking at out at what you see. What's happening is that rays of light are bouncing off the molecules that make up the outer objects. These reflected rays are hitting your eye's photoreceptors and being transmitted back as messages through your nervous system. These messages are then rendered in your mind as an image of the external objects. You are actually
Can you read this slowly? Because it's a different way to look at this and shows us how even the color that we see is not really color. So I'm going to
right.
just listen to you. Okay.
Okay, so I'll start over. To look at this scientifically, you are not even looking at the outer objects. Right now, you are not actually looking out at what you see. What's happening is that rays of light are bouncing off the molecules that make up the outer objects. These reflected rays are hitting your eye's photoreceptors and being transmitted back as messages through your nervous system. These messages are then rendered in your mind as an image of the external objects. You are actually seeing the objects inside, not outside. And this is just exactly what we were talking about last night, is that everything is inside of me. Everything is inside of me.
Whatever we see is coming from inside.
Yeah. I mean, if I was told that this desk was a table, I would think all desks were tables.
Right.
Unless someone said, no, that's not a table, that's a desk. It all depends on what I've learned from my past life. We see only the past life that told me this is a cup, this is coffee, that's you in the mirror. That's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing a cup of coffee. I'm seeing an image of a cup, and I'm imagining coffee inside of it because I can't see the coffee right now. I know there was coffee in it before, and I expect it to consistently still be coffee when I pick it up. But that's only because I rely on a consistency in the dream. And if I picked up the coffee and found out that it was sour milk instead, I would be surprised. And then the next time I picked up my cup of coffee, I would be checking it to make sure that it hadn't been replaced with sour milk, because that's how the ego learns, by distraction. So
Oh, I love what you just shared.
it just is, it is I define it through my own experience. So we are slowly peeling back the onion to see what it's like to be you. Things are certainly not what they appear to be. Even science backs that up. It's like you're sitting inside looking at a mental flat screen monitor that is imaging the world in front of you. You are obviously not the object you are looking at. After all, you are not even looking at the actual object. What is it I'm looking at? I'm looking at light that is being reflected off the object, that is being reflected into my eye. And as we know, the lens of the eye turns it upside down, turns the image upside down. So the image that is directed to my retina is upside down. And my brain turns it right side up in its knowing and understanding of it. And that's why, surprisingly enough, when my retina became detached, the bottom half of it lifted up. And so the only thing I could see was through the top half of my retina. But my vision, my mind told me that it was like a curtain had come down from the top to the middle of the screen. So it was like there was a black curtain there, but it was not the black curtain coming down. It was the retina being detached from the bottom up. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what happened. So I had this idea.
The way you handled the whole thing shocked me. The whole thing with your eyes. No,
Yeah.
it's shocking to me that really, I probably would have talked about it my whole life.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about it now.
Yeah, but it was pretty traumatic. It was.
Yeah, it was pretty traumatic.
I mean, I didn't hear, again, those days we didn't really talk on there about there was just a course talk. There wasn't really any private things that I remember.
Right.
But it still shocked me that you could actually go through that.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy because I went through, I think, altogether for that retina, I went through like 5 surgeries to try
Yeah,
to,
and no complaining. It just would have, it shocked me.
yeah. Well, I mean, what you gonna say?
Ghostbusters. What are you going to
Well,
say?
act like
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Yeah, so what? Now now I can only see out of one eye. But that's, at least I have one eye to see out of, which, it could be much worse. So, okay.
You had to stop driving and everything. Was that hard?
Oh, yeah, it's horrible. I can't stand not driving. But, I wish I could just get in the car and go off to someplace. And I could, when I went to get my ID, they said, oh, just try the vision test and see. And I passed the vision test for driving,
You did?
even though I was totally blind in one eye and had, like
Yeah.
problems with the other eye. But, that's how there's a lot of blind people out driving on the road. So, I'm I recognize that too. But yeah, no, I do miss driving. It's not that I miss driving so much. It's really inconvenient to go someplace when you can't drive because somebody
Oh, you
else
can get
take
it. You can get in an
Uber.
Uber now.
Yeah,
I
this,
don't drive anymore because of my brain. The
yeah,
auto processing disorder became magnified where it doesn't connect. So my ear and my, brain aren't connecting well. So I stopped. Now, do I feel bad? Well, it holds me back from, I don't spend any less money because there's Amazon. So
right. Yeah, you can shop. I buy my groceries through Instacart. Most everything else I buy through Amazon.
Right. Yeah.
I don't actually go to a physical store very frequently. Um, you know,
Right.
because, well, for one thing, because yes, I do have that auto processing issues
You have
where
that too?
it's very, very well, because the the other thing is that I have a condition called oscillopsia, which is uh, because I had my vestibular system is damaged. So it's a condition where you can't focus on anything if your head is moving. I can't focus on anything if my head is moving because
Oh my God.
the connection between, yeah, the connection between the eye and the brain, it doesn't work. So everything is all jittery weirdly. So I have to
Oh,
hold my head straight, or, still to even recognize your face. So if you were walking up to me and I was walking in a hall and you were walking up to me, if I was moving, I would not recognize who you were.
right.
I couldn't recognize your face. Um, it's a crazy thing anyway, but
Well, you have an ego. What's so interesting is, of course your ego's thinned out, but it had to be at the time. You just got into the course. It was only like a beginning of the course, wasn't it?
yeah, it
That
was.
just shocked me.
Yeah, but I understood. I got exactly what the course was saying. I mean, it didn't, it made perfect sense to me. So
Right.
it's the same thing. My husband fell in love with another woman and, wanted, to have her come and live with us and be our, second wife.
Yeah,
And
the thing that I like about that is that's another thing that blew me away too. If the agreement is that you could do that, then that too is really, one thing that I do see in the younger people is they don't want to just be married to their only one, like unless it's like consensual, right?
right. Well, we realized that there is no one person for me.
Right. No, there is no,
There's
exactly.
no one person for me.
There's no
You're
one
my
person
one
for
person.
anyone.
Yeah, so that whole idea of one man, one woman, or one woman, one man, one man, that's all bullshit.
Yeah.
That is reinforcing uh the separation in a legal way. I mean, there's so many ways that we reinforce the separation, but to think that we're not that there's it's all culture and it's not true, none of it. So yeah, so then my husband says, I want this other woman, and I read A Course in Miracles, and I was very new, you're right, to A Course in Miracles. I hadn't been reading it that long, and it said to me, if a brother asks you anything, even if it's
Right.
outrageous, give it to him because he thinks that's his salvation, and that it's not. If you don't give it to him, it's because you think it's your salvation. And, I asked myself, is it my salvation? No. So I let go and I said yes. So, that's why we have, another
But it
wife.
actually helped everybody by doing that. You know
Oh
that.
my God, yes, because when all this happened with my accident and my knee and my surgery and my eye, and she took me to every appointment. She stayed at the hospital when I was having the surgeries. She took care of me the whole time. It was
Yeah, a
her.
man isn't usually cut out for that.
And he is like clueless about what to do. But I had my own personal nurse
Right.
here. And
Well,
then
you
she
get
got
to
out of school and
experience
became
how
nurse.
women do certain things and men don't.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, so and then she went to school and became a nurse, and now she's a nurse. She just came home from work. So uh she's going to be off for a couple days, and she works at night. Anyway, so um this who we think we are is not true. And who I think you are is not
Does
true.
Sandy like the course at all? Because I'm sure she knows.
Yeah, she's okay with it. I mean, she's gone. I've, showed the pictures of, she's gone with me to see Gary. She went with me to the conference in San Francisco, but she didn't attend anything. She went and explored San Francisco while we were there. Um, but yeah, she's not into it at all. Um, that her and my husband both are like, you're doing it, so you do it for us. And they
They,
know.
the ego won't let them, right? Isn't that the truth? Like the ego won't let certain people even know they're not. The readiness isn't coming
I
forward.
don't even know about, I don't think they're any different than me. I think they're just another part of me that sees things from a different direction. So, um,
The
I
whole
just let them
story,
be.
though, is very course-like if you really think about it. That book came into your life perfectly.
What, the disappearance of the universe?
All of them. You would have probably left them otherwise. Who
Oh
knows?
yeah, yeah, definitely I would have. Definitely I would have. There would have been nothing that's happening now. And I couldn't even imagine a better life. I'm so happy. And I'm so happy and I'm so grateful and um that I've got someone who will drive me around when I need to go somewhere. Who do you think takes me? You know,
But you know what it tells you? Like it just tells you how women are more equipped.
yeah, that could be too. That could be too. But I think it's just
They
that,
always say, like, if they would only get a woman to in politics, we'd maybe run a country that's good.
yeah, exactly. But for me, it's just like I just recognize that nothing in this world is what we think it is. And so, all those rules they taught you when you were a kid were bullshit. Every thought you ever had about who should be doing what and how and why, it's total bullshit. None of it is true. And when you get over it and say, none of these rules, it's like, Valentine's Day. Somebody invented Valentine's Day so they could sell uh cards and candy and flowers.
Well, it's
And it
always about lack, like Valentine's Day. Oh, he didn't get me candy.
Right. Or look at all this good stuff I got or whatever. Yeah, and or Christmas. That's made up. It's all made up. And we believe it like it's like God did it.
Right.
God didn't make up marriage. Marriage is not a thing that God invented, even if it says it in the Bible. That is very is absolute. Plus, I mean, you think about marriage in the Bible, how many wives did Solomon have? How many wives did Abraham have? How many wives? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole Bible, Old Testament.
Right.
That's completely acceptable throughout that. It's yeah, we change our rules based on what we want to see and how we want to be. So anyway, I'm going to continue reading.
But your story, isn't it fascinating, her story, Bob? Lynn, I was there the day that Cheryl Valentine, she used to be with us all the time, remember? Like twice
Yeah,
a week. And she was saying, well, not because you read the book that everybody has to accept that. And you said, no, but it just had happened to you. Just had happened. The shock was still there in you.
yeah,
And I think it floored a lot of people. Me, I just became like kind of like I got something from it, like things aren't what I think they are.
yeah,
That kind of thing. Just what you
yeah,
said. Yeah.
yeah. I'll tell you what, I went through all shades of shock and denial. I went through everything. I mean, think about it. This is what I've been taught my whole life. This is the way it's supposed to be. And, all of a sudden now I'm being asked to be a different way. And I went through, yes, shock and I cried for months. I was miserable. I was so heartbroken. I'm like, how could,
Yeah, it didn't seem that
poor,
way. Just once you got into, how we switched to right-minded thinking. As soon
yep,
as you got into your right mind, you were fine again. That's where you were saved. So
yeah,
much pain.
exactly. And that's all it had to happen was to get into my right mind and
Yeah.
recognize none of this is true. This is all on my blog, and I haven't written in my blog for years, but I could post the uh, articles and you could look at them and read all
Yeah.
about adventure. Anyways,
You know what he wants to say, Bob, here, which is very interesting. Which is more important, vision or eyesight? You know,
yeah,
this is an interesting thing, Bob, because Helen Keller did get to vision, I think. Isn't that right? Does anyone know that for a fact or no?
I don't know. I have no idea. I wasn't
Well,
there, so
she was very into, Helen Keller was very into self realization. So, what is more important? I would say vision, because all you're doing when you really get that you're just looking at a camera from your mind and everything out there is you, that's just that you're projecting and you wanted everything in the scene. Well, then you just say, okay, I can look at it and realize that this is just, you know, raindrops on roses, all the little
yeah.
findings of the Christmas, you know, it's such a beautiful little story when we just realize that's all it is a story. There's no other. Now, my dog all of a sudden decided that he's hungry. He ate already, but he's whining now that he wants to eat more. Anyway, do you want me to?
Sounds like Zelma's dog. He does that
Well,
too.
hers is lovable, right? Mine is
Right.
scruffy, but both of us have spoiled our dogs to a point where do you hear him?
I don't know about spoiled.
Oh,
That
well, I give them treats a lot, and so I'm not really like the best dog
yeah, but
owner.
that's a kind of a judgment on the dog, isn't it? Is that a judgment on you or a judgment on the
Oh, I
dog?
think I do judge the dog a lot. That was a good observation.
But you're also judging yourself because you said I did it. I spoiled him. So
Right.
you're taking you're
There's a
guilty
lot of
yourself.
habit here it's habit energy coming forward. Go ahead, Sharon, grab it. You don't want to go disappearing, do you?
That's hilarious. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, girl, are you looking to disappear?
That's hilarious. All right. So you want to read?
Oh, where are we?
There was a great saint from India.
There was a great saint from India, an enlightened master named Ramana Maharshi. His entire spiritual path was to every moment persistently ask, who sees when I see? Now, this is actually really important. Who hears when I hear? Who feels when I feel? Stop it, Scruffy. The term for enlightenment, the yoga master Paramas, I can't even yoga gone. I don't know. He's making me. I'm blaming him, and it's
I
me.
hear this dog.
You see, he's the tyrant. I told
Scruffy,
you.
stop it.
I give him everything, and he just doesn't have. You need the Course in Miracles, Scruffy. You need to know you are everything.
Oh my God. All right. So yeah, self-realization is the term for enlightenment. Paramhansa Yogananda. Uh, Paramhansa Yogananda. And Rafi has his hand up. Yeah, Rafi.
I just wanted to know if maybe I could read so Sharon could deal with her dog.
Oh, it's a good idea. That's good. You want to do that, Sharon? You already
Yeah,
spoiled them. You
yeah.
might
My
as well.
dog, my dog is a pain in the whatever.
Yeah, but you know what? You're not going to stop it right now. That's not going to
Oh,
stop right now. You can't change what you already
right.
made.
No, no, not
No.
not in the middle. Yeah, Ravi, you take over.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
Michael Singer, but it's all the same. Every book that we open now, it's all the. What are your plans for tonight, Lynn? Because I don't know if I'll be home, but I want to go if I just have an idea of what's going on tonight. What will I
I
miss?
don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So we'll see. All right. All right.
we
So
should listen
Rafi,
to stuff like when you play Michael. I think when we're in a group and we listen to these teachings, it just helps. All of it helps. So
yeah,
whatever you do.
I've been wanting to play some Byron Katie's, so maybe we might do that tonight.
All right. Okay.
Anyway, go ahead, Rafi. Just start from there was a great saint from India.
Oh, there was a great saint from India, an enlightened master named Ramana Maharshi. His entire spiritual path was to every moment persistently ask, who sees when I see? Who hears when I hear? Who feels when I feel? Self realization, the term for enlightenment, the yoga master Paramahansa Yogananda used, means you have fully realized who you are in there. The entire spiritual journey back to the seat of self is not about finding yourself. It's about realizing you are the self. That's the 11 says, because you just remember what I am. Even in a Judeo Christian sense, if somebody asks whether they have a soul, the correct answer is no, you don't have a soul. You in there, the consciousness, are the soul. Thus, who are you becomes the quintessential question. You can't free yourself until you understand who it is that's bound. Likewise, you can't understand acceptance until you understand who is resisting. Whew, I dumped a bunch of resistance this morning. Let's continue our exploration of self. Earlier, we discussed that when you were young, you looked out through your eyes and saw a certain reflection in the mirror. Later in your life, you saw a very different reflection. From that point of view, how old are you? How old is your body? How old are you in there who's looking out through those eyes at your body? If you were in there when you were 10, if you were in there when you were 20, if you're going to be in there on your deathbed noticing that you're dying, then what age are you in there? Don't answer that question. Just let it touch you at a very deep level. Are you willing to let go of traditional concepts about your age? Absolutely. Let's do another interesting experiment. Imagine you're looking in the mirror right after taking a shower. You see the reflection of a male or female body. What if suddenly via some mysterious power it changes? Somehow the body parts change. If you were a male, now you're looking at a female. If you were a female, now you're looking at a male. Would it still be the same view? No. Would it be the same? Yeah. You in there looking at that body. Would it still be the same consciousness that has always looked out through those eyes, now seeing a very different body? You would probably be saying, "What happened? What's going on here?" Nevertheless, it would be the same you having the entire experience. So, what gender are you in there? You in there who has no body parts can't have a gender. All you can have is awareness that when you look out through your eyes, the body you're looking at has a certain form and shape. That form and shape might be male or female, but you who notices are neither. So perfect. The question remains, who are you?
Oh, I just wanted to bring up real quick before
Sure.
you moved on. This does happen. There are many people in this world who are born as one gender or appear to be one gender, and then later on develop body parts that are of the other gender. And this is why uh you can't actually really know when a baby is born what gender they are. And if you come from one of these families where the what appears to be a girl suddenly at the age of puberty begins developing a penis and testes, that is like a big shock. But if it's something that's known in your family or your village or your culture that happens, then it's a possibility at any time. We're not used to that. So we can't, we take what it looks like at birth and say that's what you are. But even later on, when you begin to know yourself, you may know yourself as being the opposite gender, opposite, we say, and your body doesn't reflect that to you. And that way you may want to change how your body looks so it reflects it. But all of it is to do with the body. And so this thing we call gender, that's not even a reality because God has no gender. God is completely genderless. So are all the angels. I mean, what still has no gender. So, that we are so caught up in it is crazy. And I'm really happy that right now in the world, people are beginning to understand that what we call set in stone gender really is not at all. So, in fact, it's not at all. Anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you reminded me of two things, and I'm glad you brought that up. Many years ago, when I was a regular on the Sonny and Cher show, I used to bring my son to rehearsals because I couldn't get a babysitter or something, and he would play with Cher's daughter while we were rehearsing. Well, Cher's daughter is now Cher's son.
Yeah.
And when I got into my 80s and all the sexual urges that I had all my life just absolutely disappeared, I felt genderless, and I still do. I look in the mirror and I see this image of this guy, and I say, I love you, image. I know you're not me and you're not even real, but I love you anyway. But I don't feel like I identify with male or female. I don't identify with any of that. So it's interesting that, I mean, there are no accidents. I didn't tune into this into this thing today by accident. Amazing. Anyhow, the question remains, who are you? The awareness that intuitively knows you're in there. Your body has an age and your body has a gender. But those concepts are irrelevant to the one who notices the body. If you look at a tall 100-year-old vase, does that make you tall at 100 years old? The same is true of race. Your skin may be a certain color, but the consciousness that noticed that this has no color at all. You are not your body. You are the one who notices the characteristics of your body. You are the conscious awareness within that is looking at all of this. The question is, are you willing to let go of who you thought you were? I just did that exercise this morning. How perfect. Because who you thought you were is not who you are. The same inner being is looking at your body, your house, your car. You are the subject. All the rest are objects of consciousness. Let's turn to something a little lighter. At night, you go to sleep and you often dream. You wake up in the morning, and you say, I had a dream. That statement is actually very deep. How do you know you had a dream? Do you merely remember the dream, or were you actually in there experiencing it? The answer is very simple. You were in there experiencing it. The same you who looks through the eyes and sees the outer world is experiencing the events occurring in the dream. There's only one conscious being in there, and you are either experiencing the waking world or the dream world. Note that when describing your interactions with both worlds, you intuitively use the word I, as in I was flying through the clouds with my eyes open wide, arms open wide. Then I suddenly woke up and realized I was in my bed. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is a very ancient yogic text, Patanjali discusses the topic of deep dreamless sleep. He says that when you go to sleep and there are no dreams, it's not that you are not conscious, it's that you are conscious of nothing. If you spend time contemplating this, you're going to find that you're always conscious in there. Even people who get knocked unconscious or go into a coma often come back and tell us what they were experiencing. People have near-death experiences in which they leave their bodies and come back to tell about it. Whatever the source of these experiences, the same you in there experienced them and were able to describe what you experienced. How can you call that not being conscious? Medically, what we call conscious has to do with awareness of our external surroundings. However, the concept of whether you in there are consciously aware of anything, that's another story altogether. You're always conscious. You've been conscious from the beginning. You're aware of whatever you focus on, internally or externally. Who are you? Who is that consciously aware entity inside?
Wow.
The man
This is
with the
great.
banjo.
Thank you, Sharon, for suggesting this. I'm going to put a marker there and stop the share.
just thought it would be good just to like get something else. And I
Yeah,
just
and
want
I
to
love it.
thank you, Rafi and Marcy. I love when you come in. Anyway, we're going to do our chapter 15, 16 now.
Right. So let me get. I'm just filling in gather for a minute while I close this YouTube.